Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow citizens from Randolph County. Welcome to our 22nd video. We're concluding our 11th week of bringing these to you, and as always, thank you for watching, and we hope to be informative and have more presentations for your benefit today. I just mentioned here at the start, as of this morning, we have 731 cases, and yesterday we have another death, 14 deaths now. 731 means that we had 44 cases in one day. Now, we had one nursing home here in the county that had 15 cases yesterday. So that's part of the 44. The other 29 are just from community spread. And yes, it is a result of more testing. But more testing and finding cases means that they're really out there. So we always caution for you to be careful of your surroundings and be as private and independent as you can be, and still have some quality of life and do some of the things that you and your family would like to do. Mentioned that we're still having some demonstrations in Asheboro relative to the George Floyd situation up in Minnesota. So far, those have been safe, been disciplined, and we thank those that participate for being considerate of those around. And we also thank our Sheriff's Department, the Asheboro City Police, our EMS, Fire Service, for their work in keeping it safe and keeping it in orderly fashion. So we just bring that report. We'll also tell you this morning that you saw an article about the CARES money. That's the federal stimulus money that the county got, about $2.5 million. And I'll just remind you that that money can only be spent for expenses related to dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic here in Randolph County. We will be sharing that money, some of that money, with our municipalities who also have their own expenses. So the county got the money, none was sent directly to the cities. So we will share that with them in their related expenses. But it can't be used to make up a shortfall in revenue or to fund other items within the county budget. It has to be related to the coronavirus pandemic. Another thing that I'd like to just give you an update, Monday, we will start our budget hearings here in the county for our 2020-2021 budget year. It does not include a tax increase. We could use one. We will be cutting back on some expenses, but we just felt like that this was not a time to do that with all that's going on in consideration of our citizens. But we'll be dealing with the budget. It'll be a difficult process for us. It will be live for you to watch, and we also could have some participation in person at the county courthouse. So we look forward to going through that process. We'll have a public hearing for the public questions or positions on the budget. So just keep those in mind again as we go through this process. This morning I think I'll do something a little bit different and maybe focus some on our youth. I've been talking more about, I guess, my generation or those younger, but our youth are going through this whole pandemic process also. They haven't been to school since back in March. They don't get to see their friends that they've been accustomed to seeing every day. I guess they don't get to date like they used to. And they have to stay at home, don't have the social life. Our seniors don't get to experience the traditional graduation ceremonies and pomp and circumstance that goes with that after a culmination with kindergarten, 13 years in public schools. And so we salute our youth and we thank you and we feel for you as you go through this process. I have 9 grandchildren, and some of them are still in public schools, and a couple are in college, and they're dealing with it in their life and the changes that it's brought about. But what I would say to our youth is, don't quit learning. I know that you have your virtual courses or assignments that has been ongoing through this process, and don't take it for granted. Virtual learning any kind of learning is important and necessary. And I just encourage you to keep doing that. Keep your mind fresh and keep your mind disciplined to learning, and continue to read, continue to study, and learn all that you can. I would give you an assignment this morning myself. I would like to ask you to read the book of Proverbs, written by Solomon, known for his wisdom. And you'll find so much in that book of Proverbs that will help you all through your life. It'll help you right now with your family situation, the need to learn, the importance of learning. I'll just share a couple of things that I find in Proverbs myself that'll give you an idea of sort of what you can find if you read that book. And in the very first chapter of Proverbs, in the 5th verse, Solomon wrote these words: "A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels." And in the 3rd chapter and the 13th verse, he wrote these words: "Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding." So your happiness in life, your well-being in life, is centered around the learning and the education that you get right now in your life. I guess probably my favorite verse relative to the study and the importance is actually found over in the New Testament of the Bible in 2 Timothy, 2nd chapter, 15th verse. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not be ashamed. These studies and your discipline and your learning is going to help you all through life. As you're not in class now, there's not a teacher to tell you, open your books and do this assignment and have this homework ready for tomorrow and we're going to have a test on Friday. There's nobody to tell you that. So it comes to you and your ability and your self-discipline to learn and to study and take advantage of the time that you have here to prepare yourself for what's ahead. You will face obstacles in life. You will face difficulties, you'll face disciplines, and you'll face decisions that you have to make as you go through life. And what you learn now will help you in that process and help you to overcome obstacles. I'll share a little story with you. I think probably your parents or grandparents would remember, but it was my privilege when I first came on the Board of County Commissioners to serve with a gentleman by the name of Richard Petty, Randolph County's favorite son. Some might not remember, but Richard was a county commissioner here for 16 years, from 1978 to 1994. And it was my honor and privilege to serve with him for 12 of those years, from 1982 to 1994. But we know Richard as a race car driver, the king. His record, he won 200 races in his career. In 1967, in 1 year, he won 27 races, 10 in a row during that year. Another statistic, though, Richard actually entered about 1,200 races. So if he won 200, that means in 1,000 races, he didn't win. He crashed. His engine blew up. Somebody else ran into him. But he failed to win a race. But he is not looked at today as a loser, but he's looked at as a winner. King Richard Petty, and that's how he's known. That's how he will always be known. But whatever happened, he got over it. He's back out the next week to race again. And maybe that week he did win. So we learn to overcome things that just sometimes go wrong in our life. But you can achieve and you can be successful in whatever you do. I'll tell you a little story about a fellow by the name of Johnny Weissmuller. Your parents, again, might remember that. Maybe you don't remember the name Johnny Weissmuller, but you all will remember Tarzan. And Johnny Weissmuller, back in the 40s and 50s, he played Tarzan in the movies. I think he made 12 long movies and had a television series for Tarzan. Johnny Weissmuller was a physical specimen. He was 6'3", weighed about 245 or 50 pounds. He looked like a linebacker or a defensive end for the Carolina Panthers. But his his achievements, he was a swimmer. He represented the United States in swimming in the 1928 Olympics. He won 5 gold medals at those Olympics and set 5 world records in doing that. Over his career, he won 52 national U.S. championships, and he set 67 world records in that process. We come forward to today, most of those 67 records have been broken. Some of Johnny Weissmuller's, the big physical man, some of his records are being broken today by 12-year-old girls because they achieved, because they practiced, because they developed and had a desire to win and to be victorious and to achieve a goal that they set in their life. So whatever things you do, you're learning today how to deal with that. I'll leave you with one more little verse of scripture and a thought that goes with it. Going back to Proverbs 23rd chapter and the 7th verse, Solomon wrote, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he." In the year 4000 BC, a Hindu monk wrote, "As one's thinking is, so one becomes." Henry Ford, the founder of the great Ford Motor Company and the developer of the assembly line method of producing cars, once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right." So we have a can-do attitude. We can overcome during these times. We can accomplish our goals in life. We have a can-do attitude. And you say, well, Solomon says as we think in our heart. Well, we all know that we think in our brain. But the one thing that your brain, this little 3 pounds of mass between our ears, has recorded every bit of knowledge that we've ever experienced in our life. From the time your mother said, "Don't touch that hot stove," and as soon as she turned her head, what did we do? We went and touched it. But that was recorded, and we never did it again. Every bit of knowledge is retained. The question is, how much of it at a moment can we recall? But the one thing that your brain needs to function is oxygen. And that oxygen is carried to the brain and throughout your body by the heart. The heart pumps about 6 quarts of blood 12,000 miles a day through your body. That's the equivalent of 4 times across the United States. It carries that oxygen to your brain that causes it to function and serve you, and give you the ability to think and reason and make decisions. It's what we think in our heart that really matters and really makes us the person that we want to be, the person that we ought to be, the person that society needs us to be today and every day. You are our future. I'm proud of my grandchildren, the things that they've accomplished, the things that they're continuing to do. I know your parents are proud of you, and we just thank you and we encourage you to continue to learn, and we wish you the very best in all that you do and your endeavors in life, and we're with you and you're part of us, and we're going to all get through this together. Thank all of you. Have a great weekend. We remember our churches again this weekend. Pray God's blessings upon your services on Sunday in whatever fashion you do that. God will be in your midst. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together, He'll be in our midst. Thank you again. Have a good weekend. God bless.
Good morning. Susan Hayes, Randolph County Public Health. Today's case count at 9 a.m. is 729. 564 individuals have been released from isolation, and sadly we've had another death, bringing our total to 14. This morning I wanted to remind you about the symptoms of COVID-19. People with COVID-19 can have varying symptoms that range from mild to very severe. Symptoms typically appear 2 to 14 days after exposure to the virus. Those symptoms may include fever or chills, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, fatigue, body aches, headache, loss of taste, or smell, and sometimes that's the only symptom we've heard people say. Sore throat or scratchy throat, congestion, runny nose, nausea or vomiting, and diarrhea. Those are just some of the symptoms. There are less frequent symptoms that people may have as well. If you know or think you have COVID-19, or know that you've been exposed to the virus because someone you've been in contact with has COVID-19, please get tested. There are a number of locations across North Carolina and across Randolph County to receive testing now. You can visit Find My Testing site at the website on the screen. This website will help you locate testing near your home or in your community. North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services guidance recommends that testing for anyone with symptoms suggestive of COVID-19, any close contacts of people who've tested positive, regardless of symptoms, and anyone who's at high risk of exposure or high risk for severe illness if they get COVID-19. What to do if you get sick or if you do have COVID-19? Well, first of all, please stay home. Don't go to work. Stay at home. Stay away from others in your family. Find a place in your home where you can isolate. There needs to be one area of the home that is yours, preferably a bedroom with a bathroom that is only your bathroom. If you think you're sick and have not been tested, then call your doctor. Your doctor may recommend testing for you. If you become short of breath or have difficulty breathing, call 911. Do communicate to the operator, though, once you get 911, that you think you might have COVID-19. Monitor your symptoms while you're sick. If your symptoms worsen, again, contact your physician or your doctor. You can call our hotline at 336-318-6227 if you have concerns or questions that we can help you with. When you're at home in isolation, always cover your mouth and nose with a tissue. Throw the tissue away in a trash can that is lined. Wash your hands immediately for 20 seconds with soap and water, or if you don't have soap and water, use hand sanitizer, about a dime size amount in your hands. Rub your hands together until they're dry. Clean your hands often, especially after going to the bathroom or touching things that could be contaminated. Avoid touching your face. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, mouth. And do not share personal items. In your room where you're isolated, the things in your room and the things in your bathroom should just be yours, not anyone else's, and no one else should have contact with those. If they do, they need to wear gloves and a mask. It's also a good idea to clean and disinfect highly touched areas and things in your room and bathroom that could become dirty. Anything with stool, blood, or body fluid should be cleaned. Again, you can use regular household cleaners, but if anyone else comes to clean behind you, they need to wear gloves and a mask and be very careful about cleaning the things that belong to you. Thank you for continuing to help us and for doing your part to protect yourself and others from the coronavirus. We want to encourage you, if you have questions, to please visit the county website, the county COVID-19 website. You can also call our hotline again at 336-318-6227. And remember to wear a face covering when you're out and about. That protects others from you. Wait 6 feet from others to protect yourself and those around you. And wash your hands often for 20 seconds or use hand sanitizer. Thank you, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, Commissioner Darrell Fry and Public Health Director Susan Hayes, for your comments and your updates on the coronavirus and its impact on our community. As of today, Randolph County's produced 22 videos that are designed to provide you with up-to-date information on the status of the coronavirus pandemic in our Randolph County community. To date, these YouTube videos have generated almost 23,000 views, and that's not counting shares. And we thank you for that, because information in a time of crisis can be a citizen's most valuable resource. We've used these videos as an opportunity to spotlight many Randolph County departments, agencies, and organizations. Updates have been provided by the Sheriff's Office, Emergency Services, our public schools, public health educators, our Register of Deeds, Social Services, Risk Management, our Animal Services, Economic Development, Veteran Services, Cooperative Extension Service, the County Building Inspections, our Senior Adults Association, and our Wellness Administrator, along with environmental health representatives. All these agencies and departments have a unique role in the many challenges faced by our community and your Randolph County government. And today, our next update will be provided by Amber Scarlett. Many of you know Amber. She served as Director of Tourism for 13 years and has recently been appointed by the TDA Board of Directors as the Interim Chief Executive Officer of the Randolph County Tourism Development Authority. The Tourism Authority was established in 1997 by action of the Board of County Commissioners and special legislation passed by the North Carolina General Assembly. The Tourism Authority is a specialized economic development engine for our Randolph County, and it promotes our business and hospitality industry to the tourist and to the traveler. Amber's going to update you on the critical role of the Tourism Authority and the challenges that are being faced by our hotel and our hospitality businesses as a result of the coronavirus pandemic.
Thank you, Hal. I appreciate being invited to join today. We're preparing to welcome the traveling public back to the heart of North Carolina, a destination known as home to the North Carolina Zoo, a Seagrove pottery community, and the Petty family attractions. Visitors spent more than $153 million in Randolph County in 2018, providing more than 1,000 jobs across the county. During Governor Cooper's stay-at-home order, we continue to support our tourism partners with creative messages and innovative marketing methods throughout their darkest times. Moving through the next phases of reopening, it will take all of us working together, our traveling public and our dedicated staff members. There's no guidebook for what we're experiencing. Flexibility and respect of one another are key elements to a return of normalcy. Our visitor centers in Seagrove along I-73-74 reopened to the traveling public on Memorial Day weekend. New safety measures and guidelines in place at each location for the protection of our visitors and staff members include: staff members have been divided into two groups, and one team will be focused on the northbound location and one on the southbound. This separation will prevent cross-contamination if a visitor center staff member becomes sick. Only one visitor center will be open each day. Employees will receive temperature checks prior to their work shift and answer questions about symptoms and whether they've been exposed to anyone with COVID-19. Procedures are in place to handle any of the positive results. Staff members will wear personal protective equipment, including washable face masks and disposable gloves. A plexiglass germ shield has been installed at the front of the counters of the visitor centers. Additional cleaning supplies to support a rigorous sanitation schedule have been provided. New signage is posted that will advise visitors of safety protocols in place, including the building sanitation schedule, social distancing decals, PPE usage, and more. During Phase 2, only 10 people will be allowed in the visitor center at a time. We do have staff at the front door greeting visitors if they do not have a comfort level of coming into the building, and establish a line of social distancing and provide information packets. I want to invite you to join our efforts of providing a safe environment in the heart of North Carolina by taking the guest pledge at countonmenc.org. Thank you and have safe travels.